Well, last week was a very tough week for Putco, not just for the company, of course, but for their workers who went on a wildcat strike over salary increases. Well, that led to the company firing over 100 of their drivers. Now, those workers say buses will not run until they have monies that are owed to them paid back. Nqobile Madlala for us on this, but I saw reports over the weekend in Nqobile that Putco buses will be operating this morning. So there's a fair amount of confusion. What are you hearing from outside the depot this morning?
Well, that was indeed the promise, Gareth, that Monday will resume operation, especially after the incidents that we saw play out in court. But it seems like those operations have been disrupted. I mean, we've seen the drivers and they've spoken to us about the fact that other drivers have even gone as far as leave the buses on the side of the road. But the conversation is ongoing. And I'm going to bring in my guest now from NUMSA, who's going to give us an idea. I mean, the biggest question, Paramile, at this point is there going to be any buses?
Good morning, and good morning to viewers, and thank you for having me on the show. We do believe as NUMSA that we are in the process of trying to resolve this impasse. Last night, the General Secretary of NUMSA, together with the negotiating team of NUMSA, met with the executive management of Putco. We had a marathon meeting that started from around midday and ended at past 11 p.m. last night. And a proposal is now on the table. And we believe that this proposal that we hammered out together with the management of Putco could possibly settle this wage dispute. So what's happening now is that our organizers are going from depot to depot. Comrade Frederick, for example, is going to be at Rocherville this morning at 9 a.m. to present the proposal to members. He will then make his way here to Dobsonville, where we are, and present the same proposal so that members can take a decision about whether they accept the proposal and make a decision about what they want to do going forward.
I mean, it's quite interesting to see that you are still negotiating, besides the fact that we heard Putco saying that they would like their unions to distance themselves. Why not distance yourself?
Well, I think we have to be clear about what does it mean when they say distance themselves. I think what Putco was asking for in court when they made that claim was they wanted the union to do more than what it had already been doing in terms of encouraging members to go back to work. And this is something that we pressed upon the judge to say we've been doing that. From day one, when workers embarked on the work stoppage, we went to every single depot and tried to convince them to return to work. And in fact, we succeeded. In the majority of depots, workers did return to work. There's only 2 depots where we're experiencing this crisis, as evidence to show that we've done everything we possibly can. And as proof of that, the fact that we even had this meeting with management is because of our commitment, first of all, to our members. We cannot leave our members in the lurch. We understand fully why they were unfairly provoked into embarking on this strike action. The employer has a duty to do the right thing and to pay them their increases. These increases are due to them, and they must resolve this. And this is why we felt it was our duty to have this session that we had yesterday, because at the end of the day, our goal has always been to try and resolve the dispute so that we can settle this and we can end the work stoppage.
Pamela, when we heard from Putco that over 1,000 people were potentially going to lose their jobs, I mean, later on it was 105 that could see their termination, you called on the Department of Transport to come and intervene. Did that assist in any way?
We definitely did actually reach out directly to the department. We have not yet, as I understand it, set up a meeting, but the minister was aware of our desire to meet with him over this issue, especially because of the fact that we made it clear that it cannot be right that Putco can continue to receive subsidies and then make a decision to deny workers increases, and worse, after they rewarded themselves as executives with increases of 7%. we felt that was totally outrageous and unfair. And this is why we felt that the ministry had to step in, because here was an entity that was benefiting hugely from government subsidies, and yet absolutely refusing to adhere to a process where, you know, we'd engaged in wage talks, there was a collective agreement, and it's true that they've made money, you know, and yet instead of them giving and sharing that with workers, they then choose to pocket that. So for us, that was a completely unacceptable condition, and we felt very strongly that the department had to do something about it, because it's taxpayer money that's being paid over here, and yet workers are getting the raw end of the stick. But as I said to you, the fact is that we have made significant progress, and now we're just waiting. The main thing now is to present this proposal, and let's see what members think about it, and hopefully if it's good enough, they'll accept it.
And I mean, I understand your deadline is 12 o'clock today?
That is what Putco has said. They've given us until 12. But, you know, this is a process. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that members understand fully what is involved here, and they are able to take a decision for themselves which will work for them.
Thank you very much. Nqobile Madlala from NUMSA. She's saying that there is progress. So Gareth, soon probably we will see the buses, but that of course depends on what happens when they do deliver that proposal from Putco.
And then for the moment we'll leave it there. Nqobile, will come back to you again a little bit later, see what is happening with the situation as far as Putco is concerned. Some drivers saying they're returning back to work, others saying they're not. They're waiting to hear what happens with NUMSA and the other unions.